in both Springfield and Indianapolis today.
Testimony begins today for former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton on the Epstein files.
And taking a live look outside this morning, temperatures, they are going to be in the 40s today, but Mike says we have a big warm-up coming.
Look at that live picture. 6 o'clock on the dot. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this morning. I'm Gabriela Primus.
I'm Anthony Ponce. That photo of the Adler never gets old. Never gets old,
Mike. It really
Mike.
doesn't.
And we're getting even warmer out there. I like it.
Today's going to be good. Tomorrow's going to be spectacular temperature-wise. But just when you think winter is over, a little reminder that it can snow even going into March on the way this weekend. But today, enjoy it. We're going to see a nice sunrise here. Skies have been partly cloudy overnight. A little bit cloudy in the farther south you are. 19 at O'Hare. Fortunately, there's no real wind to speak of, so the wind chill is about the same as the actual temperature. Today, we're headed for the low 40s. Few spots could get a 44 or 45 in there. Cold start at 9:29. Some sun and pleasant, already well above freezing by noon. And then we'll be in the low 40s this afternoon. Not a windy day, but tomorrow, bonus territory temperature-wise. I'll show you some 60s on the way. Right now, let's hope that your commute is still going smoothly. Gabriella, what's
Mike, you're okay here on pretty much all of our major expressways, although you do see a little bit of a backup on the Dan Ryan, and there's a reason why. It's 25 minutes right now from 95th to the Byrne Interchange. Remember about that outbound delay on the Eisenhower between the Byrne Interchange and Ashland Avenue? It was overnight work that was supposed to be wrapped up by 5. It finally wrapped up now, but it's causing the delay on the inbound side of the Dan Ryan now. All right. 25 minutes for your inbound trip on the Stevenson from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive, 25 as well. On the Eisenhower, under 30 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. If you take Metro Union Pacific Northwest, know that there's some train delays due to operational issues. Anthony.
Okay, Gabriella, thank you very much. Services begin today for the late civil rights icon, Reverend Jesse Jackson. He will lie in repose today and tomorrow at Rainbow Push on East 50th. Doors open at 10 a.m. on both days. And here's a live look outside Leak & Sons Funeral Home where the Jackson family, they will be arriving there soon. There's going to be a procession from the funeral home over to Rainbow Push headquarters.
A shooting on the city's south side sends multiple people to the hospital. It happened just after 7 last night in the 6600 block of South Stony Island. This is in the Woodlawn neighborhood. Police say multiple suspects got out of a car and opened fire. 4 people were hospitalized. 1 is in critical condition. It's not known what led to the shooting.
All right, there could be some movement today from state lawmakers in Springfield on the Bears Stadium project. The Revenue and Finance Committee is expected to discuss the mega projects bill. Yesterday, State Representative Cam Buckner filed an amendment to the Illinois Employment First Act. This outlines more tax breaks for the team should they choose to build their stadium in Illinois. Now, in Indiana today, lawmakers in the Senate, they are expected to approve and send a bill to Governor Mike Braun to build a stadium in Hammond.
The former boyfriend of Heather Mack is set to appear in court in Chicago today. You probably remember the story. Tommy Schaefer was just released from a prison in Indonesia. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison for the 2014 murder of Heather Mack's mother, Sheila Vaughn Wise Mack, during a vacation. The case became known as the Bali suitcase murder because her body was found in a suitcase in the trunk of a taxi. Prosecutors say he and Mack were trying to gain access to a $1.5 million trust fund. Mack is currently serving a 26-year prison sentence in Chicago.
The city of Chicago will pay $5.7 million after a jury found that police wrongfully raided the home of the Tate family. This happened in 2018. Members of the Chicago Police Department SWAT team forced their way into the family's house. They deployed flash grenades and pointed assault rifles, even at children. Turns out they had the wrong address. The children's mother suffered a panic attack. Their grandmother was forced outside in front of the neighbor's house wearing only a T-shirt and underwear.
There's a major lawsuit against a school district in the western suburbs. 4 former Oswego High School students are accusing a PE teacher and coach of grooming and sexually harassing them. Disparity Law Group filed a case in Kendall County against the District 308 school board. The firm says there were systematic failures at the school for years.
The fact that this was allowed to go on this long and was minimized repeatedly by the district, frankly, it's outrageous.
It's also really frustrating that the district hasn't reached out to any of us or said anything when we've made it publicly known.
I want to see a district take responsibility for its actions that have been happening for well over a decade.
Going to school every day was terrifying, not only for the sheer fact of teacher being at that school, but also the fact of anyone finding out that I had come forward in the first place.
The lawsuit seeks more than $50,000 in damages.
The woman who allegedly hit and killed an Uber Eats driver during a carjacking attempt will remain in custody. Prosecutors say 28-year-old Daniel Figueroa was dropping off an order for a doctor at Loretto Hospital. That is when 33-year-old Montoya Perry allegedly stole his van and ran him over. It was the doctor who had placed an order through Uber Eats who found Figueroa lying in the street right outside the hospital and then called 911. Figueroa's mom shared her grief.
I just don't want this to happen to anybody else's family. He's 28 years old. I'm not going to let his name go in vain. And I love you, Daniel, wherever you're at. I just pray with the help of the justice system and everyone involved that Daniel gets justice.
Perry has a long rap sheet with 8 prior felony convictions, including aggravated robbery, burglary, and forgery. She was on pretrial release in another incident from earlier this month for resisting and obstructing police.
Democrats on the House Oversight Committee are launching an investigation into the Epstein files.
Brian is here in studio with the very latest. Brian?
That investigation follows reports that the Justice Department withheld some of the Epstein files related to allegations against President Trump that he sexually abused a minor. The New York Times reports that the FBI memos removed from public view were summaries of the interviews about claims made by a woman that she had been sexually and physically assaulted by President Trump decades earlier when she was just 13 years old. The woman came forward in 2019 after Epstein's arrest. President Trump has denied any wrongdoing in connection with Epstein. Meanwhile, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will testify today about Epstein. Her deposition will be in front of a House committee. Former President Bill Clinton is set to testify tomorrow. Both Clintons appear in the documents released by the Justice Department. The former president is in pictures and on flight logs from 2002 and 2003. Hillary Clinton's name appears mainly from news articles about her 2016 presidential campaign that were shared with Epstein. And former Harvard president and U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers is stepping down from his position at the Ivy League school. Summers' name appeared hundreds of times in the Epstein files, including emails between the two after Epstein's 2009 conviction. He has been on leave from Harvard since November and will leave permanently at the end of the academic year. Back over to you guys.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. It is time to check back in with Mike. I'm kind of excited here about the weekend we have. Yeah.
Well, you were on my bad list because I saw the cold temperatures. Then you're on my good list because we had this Friday temp. And
Yeah.
I don't know
I'm
about you
feeling pretty good
now.
about Mike right now.
10-day forecast,
Pretty good
maybe.
about you.
I don't think Anthony's paying too much attention to the weekend, Gabrielle.
Maybe.
He is,
I think that's it.
I'm locked
laser
in.
focused on Friday. I get you. And look, while we are going to have some colder weather, more wintry weather over the weekend, it's going to be short-lived also. I think temperatures next week are going to go back up, especially middle and end of next week. Here's the deal. Headlining 2 chances for snow, believe it or not. This coming after what's going to feel like a spring-like day tomorrow with temperatures in the 60s for highs. Round 1 of snow, that comes in here probably starting early Saturday. Not a lot. I personally right now am leaning toward the northern tier of counties as having more impact from that one. Round 2 of snow is late Sunday into Sunday night. That one I think will have more impact. Southern portions of Chicagoland. None of these are going to be a huge monster snowstorm, but it will remind you that, yeah, we can still get snow as we transition into March and meteorological spring. 13 at Waukegan and Rockford, 19 at O'Hare, 28 though at Joliet. You can see where cloud cover has been a little bit more prevalent. That holds temperatures up at night. That system, as expected, missed us to the south. No worries for any precipitation here today. You'll see a mixture of clouds and sun with highs in the 40s. I'll show you the 7-day forecast in its up-down detail here in just a couple minutes. Back to you both.
Thank you, Mike. A new round of talks between the U.S. and Iran begins today as tensions continue in that region. All the details right after this.
could be everyone's thing.
All right, welcome back at 6:11 on your Thursday morning. Services begin today for the late civil rights icon, Reverend Jesse Jackson.
He'll lie in repose today and tomorrow at Rainbow Push on East 50th. Our Saquon joins us live there this morning. Good morning, Say.
Hey, good morning to you. Yeah, of course, we are expecting a huge turnout here at Rainbow Push this morning, including family and friends as they start to say their final goodbyes to Reverend Jesse Jackson. And really just to set the scene for you guys this morning, of course, with an event like this that is expected to draw thousands, if not tens of thousands of people here, security seems to be a really big focus this morning. It's hard to say and it's hard to show right now, but I've seen police officers walking around with dogs, kind of sniffing around the area. But we've also seen many law enforcement vehicles just kind of making sure that they're watching over this area. We also have noticed that there are signs up on this street just behind me here, and we saw some of them getting towed. Like some of the cars that were parked on this street were getting towed this morning. Of course, these spots are reserved, it seems like, for family and close friends of the Reverend as well. So lots happening here at Rainbow Push, just about every block around here right now. Once again, hard to say and hard to show, but it seems like security seems to be a big focus this morning. I do want to take you out live to Leaks and Sons Funeral Home. This is on 78th and Cottage Avenue. It's about 15 minutes south of Rainbow Push. Now, we know the Jackson family will be arriving here sometime this morning for a procession before that the Reverend lies in repose here at Rainbow Push. Again, that procession is going to start sometime early this morning at that funeral home we just took you out live to and end here at Rainbow Push. We are expecting to see dozens of cars line the procession route, of course, followed by police escorts. We are still working to learn more details about the route, by the way, including which roads may be blocked off during that time. I do also want to show you this. It's a list of services scheduled to honor Reverend Jackson. First, he's going to lie in state here at Rainbow Push today and tomorrow. Doors will open to the public at 10 a.m. both days. Then, from March 1st to the 5th, formal services will be held in both South Carolina and Washington, D.C. before his celebration of life at House of Hope here in Chicago. That service will also be open to the public from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. next Friday. We also know a private homegoing celebration is planned for next Saturday, also from 10 to 2. Back here at Rainbow Push, doors are going to open to the public here at 10 a.m. today. We understand the family has invited 5 presidents, including Presidents Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush. We also know that Mayor Brandon Johnson is expected to attend as well. Doors, again, opening up here at 10 o'clock this morning. Guys.
Okay, Saquon, thank you very much for that update. The United States and Iran have resumed talks in Geneva today over Iran's nuclear program. President Trump is demanding that Iran never build a nuclear weapon, while the U.S. has bolstered its military presence in that region. Iran says it has a right to peaceful nuclear technology. New sanctions on Iran's missile program and shadow fleet were announced ahead of the talks, even as leaders say they prefer diplomacy.
Cuban forces killed 4 people on a speedboat registered in Florida. The boaters opened fire on Cuban border agents yesterday morning about 1 mile off of Cuba's north coast. Cuban officials say those on the boat were Cubans living in the U.S. who had known criminal histories and planned terrorist attacks. The U.S. Coast Guard, along with the Department of Homeland Security, are investigating and trying to verify the facts.
For the first time in several days, there was FBI activity at the home of Nancy Guthrie. It could be seen yesterday walking in and out of the home. And we spoke with Crime Stories host Nancy Grace, who has been closely following this case. And we asked her to give a grade to the Sheriff's Department. She's giving the men and women on the ground search an A++, but the sheriff did not get a glowing review.
He needs to learn that silence is golden. He talks too much. There was a golden rule when I was prosecuting in inner city Atlanta: do not speak to the press. There's a reason for that. He has made one mistake after the next. Just shut your pie hole.
Guthrie's family is now offering a $1 million reward for information that leads to her recovery.
The Trump administration can't deport immigrants to countries they are not from. That's a ruling from a federal judge. It was ruled unlawful and could put people in danger. The judge also ruled migrants have the right to a, quote, meaningful notice and a chance to object before being removed to a country other than their homeland.
Vice President J.D. Vance says the Trump administration will temporarily halt some Medicaid funding to the state of Minnesota over fraud concerns. This is part of what he described as an aggressive crackdown on misuse. Previous efforts to cut off funding to Democrat-led states have faced pushback in the courts. Nearly 70 million people are enrolled nationwide in Medicaid. 6:16, it's time to check back in with Mike to see how Thursday looks and just how hot it's going to get. Hot, warm tomorrow.
Warm tomorrow, but certainly by late February standards. Good morning, everybody. We'll give a 1 thumbs up today, a double, maybe 3-4 thumbs up for tomorrow. But the weekend, some of you are going to be happy with it, though. Here's what we've got out there right now. We are partly cloudy. 2 areas of cloud cover. One is kind of southwest of the city. You can kind of see it right about there, sinking to the southeast. And then this patch of cloud cover, mainly high and mid cloudiness, that will sink through the area here. But I think no worse than partly sunny skies for us today. It is cold, though, and where skies have been clear overnight, temperatures have dropped deep into the teens. Look at Waukegan and Woodstock, 13 and 15 respectively, but it's 28 at Joliet. You had more cloudiness. That propped temperatures up a little bit. 21 at Maryville, 20 at Valparaiso, along Chicago's lakefront, 25 degrees. Today, 42, couple of degrees warmer than normal, mostly to partly sunny skies. Not much wind out there. Look at the 7-day forecast. Some tumultuous times on the way. Tomorrow up to 65, and you're thinking, spring is here. And then look at the weekend. Highs both days in the 30s, and it will likely snow, at least in parts of Chicagoland, on Saturday and again on Sunday. But then whatever snow falls is going to melt in a hurry. We'll be back in the 40s starting on Tuesday with some rain. And after Wednesday, I think temperatures shoot right back up again, maybe close to 60 to close out next week. I'm still seeing green on the map at 6:18, Gabby. That's great.
I know. It's good news here, Mike. On the traffic front, under 30 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, 25 minutes on the Eisenhower, 25 as well on the Stevenson if you're coming in from 355 to DeSable Lakeshore Drive, 25 minutes on the Dan Ryan. Starting to see that delay there on the Bishop Ford as you approach 95th, and again a little residual delay starting around 35th on the Dan Ryan because of that late overnight roadwork on the outbound side of the Eisenhower. Again, over in Huntley, there's that major crash westbound I-90 at Route 47. Route 47 entrance ramp to westbound I-90. It is blocked right now, so please keep that in mind. Huntley police are asking you to find some alternate routes this morning. 6:19, residents in Gilwood are talking about the future of the closed Mars Candy Factory.
This property is slated to become a large mixed-use development. Residents attended a meeting last night at Redeemer Church. Right now, the plan is to build 500 housing units on that 20-acre site. However, there's concern there about congestion. One neighborhood group envisions a state-of-the-art library, a Mars History Museum, a grocery store, and an indoor youth sports center.
We love our community. We're Gilwood. And for the Mars to have one time been a staple and now it's not, we got to make the most of that property. So that's why we're coming together.
Mars has not yet sold that property.
Chicago Animal Care and Control has a new leader. Earlier this month, Mayor Johnson appointed Susan Capello to executive director, but not everyone is happy with Capello's appointment. We spoke with Alderman Gilbert Villegas on Friday. He's pushing for the city to conduct a nationwide search for an executive director. He shared some of the concern he has heard from volunteers at Animal Care and Control that happened under the leadership of the new official executive director.
In some cases, there were dogs that are required to be walked every 15 minutes a day, in some cases not being walked for 2 or 3 days. There were cases where animals were coming in and based on the employees' recommendations were being euthanized without going through the proper process. There was talking about the cats that were also being mistreated and just really the lack of experience of staff that's there currently and the leadership that currently there around exotic animals.
Alderman Villegas says he will continue working with more than a dozen other city council members to make sure Animal Care and Control has, quote, adequate leadership.
Former Illinois Governor Pat Quinn is backing a push to keep the Bears here in Illinois. Details coming up on his online petition. Stay with us.
Illinois needs.
Welcome back. SNAP benefits in Illinois are about to drop. More than 200,000 people could lose their benefits starting April 1st. The Greater Chicago Food Depository wants lawmakers to step up and pass 2 bills. So one bill would give people a check to help cover what they're losing, which is 3 months worth starting in May. The other bill would help immigrants who can't get federal SNAP, and this for people who survive trafficking or other serious things, so they can still get food help from the state. A man from Morgan Park gets $252 in SNAP each month and volunteers like he's supposed to.
It runs out fast, yeah. That's why I don't see how people with families, could really, do it with what they get. But I try to make, do what I can do, and I want to say I'm very fortunate again to receive the benefits. That's a very big blessing.
Food pantries are already seeing more people. Last time the government shut down, pantries fed 240,000 households in a month. That was the most ever. Former Illinois Governor Pat Quinn is kicking off an online petition to keep the Bears in Illinois. He wants to give Bears fans the chance to band together and send a message to the team's top brass. You can find the petition on beardownforillinois.com. Former Governor Quinn says it's important for fans to come together in the best traditions of George Halas.
George Halas believed in Illinois. He went to the University of Illinois many years ago. He started the team more than a century ago. And George Halas understands, I think, the value of loyalty.
Indiana Senate and Governor Mike Braun still need to approve the bill that funds the construction of a new stadium for the Bears in Hammond. The Indiana Senate is expected to vote on a bill today. Former Governor Quinn will actually be in studio in our 7 o'clock hour to talk more about this petition.
Mike Kaplan, I know you have a soft spot in your heart for the Arlington Heights
I just
site.
think that's where it's going to be. I actually suggested to our brain trust that they get Pat Quinn in here. He is an avid and very knowledgeable sports guy, on top of what else he knows about, maybe politics and other things. But I'm eager to hear what he has to say coming up at 7. Hopefully you don't mind some big swings in temperatures over the next few days. We're going to go from spring right back to winter for a couple of days. I've got the forecast coming up.
Eastern on Fox.
Welcome back to Good Day Chicago here at 6:29. Hope your Thursday morning is off to a great start.
Here are some of the top stories we're following this morning. Services begin today for the late civil rights icon, Reverend Jesse Jackson.
The tug of war over the Bears' new stadium continues. We're expecting some action from lawmakers in both Springfield and Indianapolis today.
And another round of talks between the U.S. and Iran will be held today as well.
We'll talk to Doug Luzader about that in just a moment. But first, we want to check in with Mike Kaplan. And there comes the sun.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so, today's going to be a nice day. Won't be windy. We'll have a mixture of clouds and sun, and temperatures getting into the low 40s. Just a skosh warmer than normal. But tomorrow, we're off to the races temperature-wise. All week long, I've been gutless. I'd like to apologize for that. I've been going mid-50s. I've taken my high temperature forecast up by 10 degrees for tomorrow. I think we're going in the mid-60s. Here's the deal. Just when you think it's safe to put the winter coats away, take a look at our futurecast. Today, mixture of clouds and sun. We're in good shape there. Temperatures getting into the low 40s. Tonight, skies are going to clear out. And tomorrow, it is just full-on sunshine. Temperatures go crazy, well into the 60s during the afternoon. It will be windy. Okay, fine. Then we get a cold front through here at night. You can see some of the cloud cover sneaking in with that. And then with the colder air in place on Saturday, what? Snow moving into the area. Not a lot. Our model continues to think that all of Chicagoland gets some kind of snow out of this first wave on Saturday. I'm still leaning towards northern portions of Chicago on Saturday, and then southern portions of Chicagoland getting some snow on Sunday. Both days likely to snow here after those 60s. All right, let's see what kind of commute you're facing this morning, Gabriella.
Mike, everyone's waking up and they're hitting the road. Not too bad, though, for this time of morning on a Thursday, 6:30. 36 minutes right now on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. I'm going to call it 30 minutes on your way outbound if you're going towards O'Hare. Remember, if you live in the Hunley area near I-90, there is a ramp closure. Route 47. It's a serious crash that happened in the early morning hours here. All right, going on to the Eisenhower, about 40 minutes from Route 390 to the old post office, 30 minutes on the Stevenson, 35 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne interchange. And one more note for you, if you're taking Metra from the Western Burbs, BNSF, there are a couple trains that are delayed, I should say, up to 15 to 20 minutes due to mechanical problems that are going on.
All right, thank you very much, Gabby. Services begin today for the late civil rights icon, Reverend Jesse Jackson. This is a live look outside the Rainbow Push headquarters on East 50th, where he will lie in repose today and tomorrow. Doors open at 10 a.m. both days. And let's take another live look. This is outside Leak & Sons Funeral Home, where the Jackson family will be arriving soon. There will be a procession from the funeral home to Rainbow Push headquarters. Other news, a new round of talks begins today for the U.S. and Iran.
President Trump offered new warnings in Tuesday's State of the Union address, saying he's hoping to find a diplomatic solution. Doug Luzader joins us live in Washington. Now, Doug, this is the third round of talks. What can we expect between the two sides today?
Well, the president talked about his concerns with the nuclear program and with Iran's missile program, for instance. And that's really an issue here with these talks. What will they include? Iran only wants to talk about its nuclear program. The U.S. wants to include not just missiles, but also Iran's support of proxy groups in the region. So from that standpoint, the talks could reach something of an impasse here just because Iran refuses to talk about some of the things that the U.S. would like to see. You've got that whole region kind of bristling now with U.S. military force. You have, a fleet of the U.S. Navy ships there. And all of this military presence means that the U.S. could back this up with military action, and certainly the president has not ruled that out, but he says he would like to see a diplomatic solution. And, Iran is facing some real economic issues because of embargoes, and that's creating a lot of internal pressure as well.
And is Iran issuing any sort of threats as well against the U.S. or targets in that region as a result of these possible U.S. strikes?
Well, what Iran is saying is that they would respond, which presumably would be a military response. You know, we saw this last time around when the U.S. bombed nuclear sites in Iran. There was a response, a small response, and, you know, it was a little bit staged. Iran indicated they were going to do it. There was no U.S. loss of life or anything. But Iran is indicating that that there would be a substantial blowback, in essence, if the U.S. Launched another round of strikes.
All right, Doug Luzader live from Washington, D.C. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
6:34 back here at home. A shooting on the city's south side sends multiple people to the hospital. It happened just after 7 last night in the 6600 block of South Stony Island. That's in the Woodlawn neighborhood. Police say multiple suspects got out of a car and opened fire. 4 people were hospitalized. 1 is in critical condition. It's not known what led to the shooting.
There could be some movement today from state lawmakers in Springfield on the Bears Stadium project. The Revenue and Finance Committee is expected to discuss the mega projects bill. Yesterday, State Rep Cam Buckner filed an amendment to the Illinois Employment First Act. This amendment outlines more tax breaks for the team should they choose to build their stadium in Illinois. In Indiana, meantime, lawmakers in the state Senate are expected to approve and then send a bill straight to Governor Mike Braun's desk to build a stadium in Hammond.
The former boyfriend of Heather Mack is set to appear in court in Chicago today. Tommy Schaefer was just released from prison in Indonesia. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison for the 2014 murder of Heather Mack's mother, Sheila Von Wise Mack, during a vacation. The case became known as the Bali suitcase murder because her body was found in a suitcase in the trunk of a taxi. Prosecutors say he and Mack were trying to gain access to a $1.5 million trust fund. Mack is currently serving a 26-year prison sentence in Chicago. 6:35, Mike Kaplan standing by.
Yes.
Mike, I want to see a 10-day forecast. That's my request. I want to see an extended version of these, hopefully warmer temperatures.
That's interesting that you bring that up because I do have an 11-day forecast that I could show at some point here this morning just to assuage your wishes.
I don't have any cash this time.
No cash?
I don't have any cash this time for
Figures. Cheap. All right, that's okay. I think you'd like where temperatures are going to the end of next week after this weekend cool down. So here's the deal. This is what we got for temperatures now. And it's cold across most of Chicagoland, especially where skies were clear all night long. North, Woodstock, Waukegan, Rockford, all with 13. 16 at Aurora, 18 at DeKalb, even 19 at O'Hare. Then you go south. It's not quite as cold. 27 at Joliet, 25 degrees at Rensselaer, and in Gary, it is 23 degrees. The 24-hour temperature difference, it is colder now than it was at 6 a.m. yesterday. In fact, by 14 degrees at Waukegan, 7 degrees colder at Valparaiso. Today, 42 for the high. I'll take that with partly to mostly sunny skies. Tonight, down to around freezing, give or take, moonlit skies. And then the 7-day forecast, we have a 65 on the way tomorrow. And then it's winter again this weekend. Chance of snow both days. 2 separate events coming in here. And then temperatures warm up, 42 Tuesday, 45 Wednesday. And just to make Gabriella happy, what I would say is that after Wednesday, I would say that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we will be close to or perhaps a little bit above 60 degrees.
See, I knew he was hiding something.
Thank you for that request, Gabby.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
For
that
the people.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We will be back with more Good Day Chicago right after this. Happy Thursday morning, everybody.
6:39, welcome back. Here's a live look just north of our city. You can see the sun rising this morning. Remember your sunglasses if you're headed inbound in the city. There might be a little bit of a sunshine delay. We'll have a check of your forecast coming up soon. 6:40 now. Cuban forces, they killed 4 people on a speedboat registered in Florida. So the boaters opened fire on Cuban border agents yesterday morning. This is about 1 mile off of Cuba's north coast. Cuban officials say those on the boat were Cubans living in the U.S. who had known criminal histories and planned terrorist acts. The U.S. Coast Guard, along with Department of Homeland Security, are investigating and trying to verify the facts.
For the first time in several days, there was FBI activity at the home of Nancy Guthrie. Agents could be seen yesterday walking in and out of the home. And we spoke with Crime Stories host Nancy Grace, who has been closely following this case. We asked her to grade the sheriff's department, and she's giving the men and women on the ground searching an A++. But the sheriff himself, not exactly getting a glowing review from her.
He needs to learn that silence is golden. He talks too much. There was a golden rule when I was prosecuting in inner city Atlanta: do not speak to the press. There's a reason for that. He has made one mistake after the next. Just shut your pie hole.
Guthrie's family is now offering a $1 million reward for information that leads to her recovery.
The Trump administration can't deport immigrants to countries they are not from. That's the ruling from a federal judge. It was ruled unlawful and could put people in danger. The judge also ruled migrants have the right to a, quote, meaningful notice and a chance to object before being removed to a country other than their homeland.
Vice President J.D. Vance says the Trump administration will temporarily halt some Medicaid funding to the state of Minnesota over fraud concerns. This is part of what he described as an aggressive crackdown on misuse. Previous efforts to cut off funding to Democrat-led states have faced pushback in the courts. Nearly 70 million people are enrolled nationwide in Medicaid. All right, Chicago Animal Care and Control has a new leader, but there is some criticism over the pick. We'll break that down coming up.
connect local Chicago.
Good morning, everybody. It's 6:45. A nice little sunrise there. Checking with Mike about our Thursday conditions and a warm-up for tomorrow. Just a minute, but first, some news here. Services begin today for the late civil rights icon, Reverend Jesse Jackson.
He'll lie in repose today and tomorrow at Rainbow Push on East 50th. Doors open at 10 a.m. both days. Reverend Jackson passed on February 17th at the age of 84.
The former boyfriend of Heather Mack is set to appear in court in Chicago today. Tommy Schaefer was just released from a prison in Indonesia. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison for the 2014 murder of Heather Mack's mother, Sheila von Wiesmack, during a vacation.
There could be some movement today from state lawmakers in Springfield on the Bear Stadium project. So the Revenue and Finance Committee in Springfield is expected to discuss the mega projects bill today. But in Indiana today, lawmakers in the Senate are expected to approve and send a bill to Governor Mike Braun to build a stadium in Hammond. We will see. 646, Mike Kaplan again standing by with mixed weather news, I should say.
Okay.
I see something, a headline.
Mm-hmm. What have I done for you again?
Oh, there it is.
Here it is.
Ask and he shall receive.
What a treat, Mike.
Gabrielle, a few minutes ago, requested something longer than just a 7-day forecast.
I'm not average. That's why.
I understand. I understand. So, I verbally presented what the numbers look like next week. I would like to now graphically show you what's on the way. How about that? All right. So, for the most part, normal high this time of year is right around 40, give or take. Today, slightly warmer than normal. Tomorrow, crazy warm, 65 degrees. And then it's going to feel like winter here, even as we transition into meteorological spring on Sunday. That's the coldest day of the bunch. But look at next week. Every weekday from Tuesday on, warmer than normal, and a big warm up at the end of next week going into next weekend, when I think we can be 60-ish for a few days in a row, unlike tomorrow. Now, here's the deal. We have a mild day today. Let's call it a mild day today with a decent amount of sunshine. Skies are going to be clear tonight. Notice that red line up there. That's the warm sector. We will be squarely in that with gusty southwest winds tomorrow. But it's a cold front. It cannot be stopped. It will plow through here tomorrow night, introducing about a 30-degree temperature drop here just in time for Saturday, when two separate waves this weekend of snow will cross at least part of Chicagoland. Wave 1 is Saturday, probably the first half of the day, and the second wave is coming in the back end of Sunday. Both of the systems could have some light accumulations of snow. 42 today with partly to mostly sunny skies. That's looking good. Tonight down around freezing, moonlit skies. Tomorrow, bright sunshine, a huge warm-up. We get these big warm-ups of 30 degrees when the air is really dry. That will be the case tomorrow. But then there's some snow Saturday and Sunday. Highs only in the 30s. We'll keep it in the 30s Monday. But here comes that warming trend next week, starting off with a few rain showers on Tuesday. And that middle and end of next week look really toasty. Gabriella, hopefully you're happy.
Thank you very much, Mike. And I hope you're happy-ish with this traffic report. So we're taking a look at our drive times. Normal for this time of morning, I would say, on a Thursday. 40 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, 35 minutes if you're headed towards O'Hare, 40 minutes on the Eisenhower. I'm going to call it the same on the Stevenson from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive, but on the outbound side, on southbound I-55, it's near Arsenal Road. There is a rollover crash and it's blocking at least one lane, a right lane actually, I'm finding out. Crews are responding as we speak. And then also on the Dan Ryan, there's a reason why it's so heavy. There's a crash on the inbound side in the express lanes. The right lane is also blocked in this case. It looks like it just involves a couple of vehicles. Crews are on scene here. But traffic, it essentially starts near 111th on the Bishop Ford all the way into the city. A 42-minute drive from 95th to the Burn Interchange. All right, stay with us. Much more good day is ahead.
Illinois needs.
6:52. Welcome back. Residents in Galewood, they're talking about the future of the closed Mars Candy Factory.
This property is slated to become a large mixed-use development. Residents attended a meeting last night at Redeemer Church. Right now, the plan is to build 500 housing units on that 20-acre site. But there is concern about congestion there. One neighborhood group envisions a state-of-the-art library, a Mars History Museum, a grocery store, and an indoor youth sports center.
We love our community. We're Galewood. And for the Mars to have one time been a staple and now it's not, we got to make the most of that property. So that's why we're coming together.
All right, Mars has not yet sold that property.
Chicago Animal Care and Control has a new leader, but earlier this month, Mayor Johnson appointed Susan Capello to executive director, but not everyone is happy with Capello's appointment. We spoke with Alderman Gilbert Villegas on Friday. He's pushing for the city to conduct a nationwide search for an executive director. He shared some of his concerns he has heard from volunteers at Animal Care and Control have been happening under the leadership of the now official executive director.
In some cases, there were dogs that are required to be walked every 15 minutes a day, in some cases not being walked for 2 or 3 days. There were cases where animals were coming in and based on the employees' recommendations were being euthanized without going through the proper process. There was talking about the cats that were also being mistreated and just really the lack of experience of staff that's there currently and the leadership that currently there around exotic animals.
Alderman Villegas says he will continue working with more than a dozen other city council members to make sure Animal Care and Control has, quote, adequate leadership. Former Illinois Governor Pat Quinn is kicking off an online petition to keep the Bears in Illinois. He wants to give Bears fans the chance to band together and send a message to the team's top brass. You can find the petition on beardownforillinois.com. Former Governor Quinn says it's important for fans to come together in the best traditions of George Halas.
George Halas believed in Illinois. He went to the University of Illinois many years ago. He started the team more than a century ago. And George Halas understands, I think, the value of loyalty.
Indiana Senate and Governor Mike Braun still need to approve the bill that funds the construction of a new stadium for the Bears in Hammond. The Indiana Senate is expected to vote on the bill today. Former Governor Quinn will actually be in studio here in our 7 o'clock hour to talk more about the petition.
Yeah, can't wait to have him here in studio just a couple minutes from now. We got plenty more Good Day Chicago ahead, so keep it right here.
At Post today.
Welcome back. The plaintiff at the center of a landmark social media addiction lawsuit is sharing her story.
Her testimony continues today. The young woman told jurors she had an iPhone at age 9 and joined Snapchat at age 13. She says she was exposed to harmful content that led to self-harm and sextortion. Meta and Google have defended their platforms, saying they did not design platforms to harm mental health.
Lawyers for Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro say that the Trump administration won't let Venezuela's government pay for his legal defense. Maduro's defense team says Venezuela is required to pay those legal fees under its law and custom, but says the U.S. Treasury Department blocked the authorization.